a lot, and he talks and tells us how we ought to think, and we say, okay. We ought to be angry at them. Okay. We don't have to ride on somebody else's car. We can drive our own car. We can create our own lives. We can control our moods. I mean, everybody has moments. Everybody. That's part of living. But we can control how do we react to all of the chaos and all of the beautiful things and all of the questionable things that happen in our lives. Whatever persists, whatever exists in our head and keeps there, persists. Vivian used to say that a lot. And however we continue to think about things, that kind of sets the course for the rest of the day. But we do have the power to change that and be in control of that. Something to ponder, and so it is.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I don't have a solid script for this one, so I was kind of just feeling the pulse of what was out there. And this time of year, my focus is, I love fall. It's my favorite season of all. I love the colors that come in and the beautiful reds and things. We're not the East Coast. I've never traveled there, but what we have here is when the frost and the frost on the pumpkin, right? When that first freeze comes, that changes the colors. And all the brilliance comes in. And last bunch of years we've had drought, so you don't have the normal fall, rainstorms and windstorms and stuff like that dump all the leaves on the ground. This year will be a little bit different. And I had a little bit of a panic in reflecting on some of the weather report this week. I work outside, as most of you know, and so that matters for how am I going to dress, how cold am I going to be, how wet am I going to be, am I going to sit at home, am I going to have financial insecurity, right, the noise. And yet the fearful words that came up today and yesterday was atmospheric river. That was a real bad one, and it was only 3 years ago. And I flew down to see my children down in Texas over the holidays. And I came back, the plane flight was delayed because it was pretty much a disaster coming into the Bay Area. And the Alameda Naval Weapons Station, or former base, was underwater. And landing at SFO in Oakland was very questionable. And we delayed for a long time down in Southern California or Nevada. I'm not sure which one, but it was a long delay. This season is attitude of gratitude. November seems to be that, and depending on your background, depending on your history, I spent a lot of years slaving to take care of my family at Thanksgiving. Gave up like 22 or 23 years of fixing them a meal and to have them stab me in the back as quick as they could. Until one year I opened my eyes and said, that doesn't feel so good. I think I'm not going to do this anymore. How dare you rock the boat? So that attitude of gratitude when, there's like an eagle's view. My spirituality is more nature-based. When I'm up there in that airplane, I prefer to live on the sunny side of the clouds. This time of year with the weather and everything, you got a cloud that's all dark, heavy and dark and fearsome and pushing down on your shoulders down here. On the other side of the cloud, if you're up there in the airplane, I take pictures every time I'm up there. What you have are endless rainbows, okay? From the wings of an airplane, if you're ever above that darn thing, there's a big, huge circle, and sometimes there's 2 or 3 circles depending on how the sun is shining. Glorious, right? This morning on the way here, because I stay in the moment, and I wake up in the morning grateful, because I've been to death and back, right? I wake up every day glad I'm not pushing daisies, On the way here, I see a glow up towards Santa Rosa, because the sun's at my back. That's how you look at rainbows. Sun's got to be at your back and rainbow's on the other side, right? And there was a half circle up in the clouds, which means this next storm is on its way, but we're already blessed with the hope of beauty coming afterwards. It's already there. Open your eyes and just see it. So there was a current of the feelings of this attitude of gratitude this week and before that some people, because of baggage around the holidays or remembrances of friends and people lost, maybe it's not a friendly season. And I got called upon to help a friend on election day, someone who was not an intimate friend, and he called me out of the blue, coming out of mental health crisis intervention, needing me to bathe him. This is not somebody I've been intimate with. Can you come over here and wipe my backside so I can get to the doctor? I am that kind of a friend. I will show up when you ask. And felt grateful that I could have my mind in something other than the angst of Tuesday, okay? And took good care of my friend and cleaned his backside and tended to his house and washed his truck and went and got us free donuts on election day at Krispy Kreme and all that, right? But my attitude is I focus on the gifts, even when it's the peaks and valleys in life, right? Sometimes the valley is giving me a gift of compassion and understanding. Sometimes it's giving me appreciation. It's giving me a yardstick to measure the times against. And I wouldn't be able to appreciate the really wonderful peaks if I didn't have those little ones. But in this stream of consciousness that goes on, noise, a bad day, I was entitled to that person putting in front of me, they were really, let me call them all kind of bad names, right? That sets a current for what I carry in my soul. And if I'm focused on looking for the gift, it kind of settles down the noise in that thing. One of the tools out there, if we're stuck swimming in the shit pond, okay, you're swimming in the stink and you just can't get it off your shoulders and you're pretty comfortable and happy there because you've been there a long while, right? One of the tools along the way told me to pray for the willingness to be willing. If I can't quite get to gratitude, I can pray for a shift to be ready to receive. And that is enough to shift my vibration to a more hopeful way and allow the stream to start coming in. Just a thought. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Sabrina. Well, good morning.
Good morning.
We started out with a bang this morning, didn't we? Thank you, Ward. Some announcements. The Monday night healing circle will be a week from Monday, I think, whatever that is. The 25th, maybe? That sounds about right. And this Thursday, I think it's this Thursday at 9:45, is the ladies' spiritual book study right here in the hall. Another thing is we'd had a work day yesterday, accomplished amazing things, got trees trimmed, the gutters clean, leaves blown up into piles. There's supposed to be some guy come and get them for his project that he's doing, making mulch, whatever that is. And just was a great day, a little chilly, but that excited everybody to work faster and harder. And so it turned out very well. So thank all of you who participated. Today at 1 o'clock is a memorial for Barbara Callahan over at Rancho Grande, where she lives, in the clubhouse there from 1. They're thinking it'll last till about 2. Then there's going to be a little potluck sit down. Everybody can eat, and then our band is going to play Barbara's Dance Party for an hour or two after the regular part of the memorial is over. Celebration of life. So I'm sure you're all welcome, and if you need to know how to get there, ask somebody we know. What else needs to be announced? Potluck is the Sunday after Thanksgiving. There's some other things that I'm going to talk about, like turkeys and stuff, but I'm going to talk about them in my talk. So if I forget, don't let me forget, Janet. Okay.
Fill the food bill.
Oh, I think we had lots of
Help.
put yesterday in it. I think it's time to call them.
Awesome.
Because that way it'll get there before it needs to be, before, so now'll be a good time.
Awesome.
So thank you for all who have donated, and keep on, because it just, people get hungry, doesn't make any difference what month it is. People get hungry year round. So I think there's a lot of that these days. Any other announcements? I'm just happy to see Denise. It's just, we haven't seen her in a long time. Good to see you. Any other announcements? All right, I'm forgetting a bunch. If the world ends because I forgot to announce something today, I promise you I will take full credit, or full blame, I guess that's it. Let's stand up and sing It's About the Wonderful Words of Life. And sometimes we just need to listen more. Opportunity to welcome each other in the traditional Church of the Oaks fashion.
Say hello to everybody. Good morning. Good morning. Nice to see you.
Oh, that's all right.
Hi, Denise again.
You remember the song, We'll Meet Again? 1939, We'll meet again. Don't know where. Vera Lynn? Vera Lynn. Yeah, I gotta sing that song. She died.
Yeah, she did. Music. She did like the Bluebirds, the White Cliffs of Dover, and Auf Wiedersehen. I vaguely know the song.
I gotta sing it. I haven't heard it since my grandpa. I used to play along with him in the bed. I didn't sing it. I gotta sing it for the
Today, good luck with that.
Yeah. It's a 1-365 kind of thing.
Oh, yeah. Jeez. Well, good luck with that.
Thank you. Really? Okay. How about everybody just take a big deep breath? What do you think? Now this doesn't happen very often 2 or 3 times in my lifetime. I may have made an error this morning. Yeah. Ward just asked me, when's potluck? Is it after? And I got to thinking, I think next Sunday ought to be potluck because the Sunday after Thanksgiving isn't November. I think it's December 1st or something. Because I think the 28th is Thanksgiving. I make the 29th and the 30th would be Saturday. Sunday would be December already. So please accept my apologies.
Bring
And
food,
what's that?
and bring food.
And bring food next Sunday. Mike,
We could also vote to like move potluck till after Thanksgiving if people are gonna have stuff or.
we could do that. We could just have a quorum. What do you think? Next Sunday or the Sunday after Thanksgiving?
Either, I don't care.
Both.
There.
It might confuse the people that are not
Yeah,
here.
let's keep it for next Sunday, but the Sunday after Thanksgiving. if
We
people
could
have
have
leftovers-
a extended Thanksgiving if we
Okay.
wanted to. And we actually, since I don't cook much, we could do it every week. Some of us would be very appreciatory, so. All right.
So when are we doing it? Both weekends. Okay.
Next Sunday is potluck for sure,
Yeah,
and then we'll decide after that. I'm for an every week thing, I think that's pretty cool. Thanks for bringing that up, Ward, because
Because I thought last week you had said next Sunday.
It's sometimes challenging to keep track of what really is, sometimes. Mike,
I know I missed the announcements. My mom said hello to everyone. She just came for a really nice visit with my dad. Unfortunately, our schedule didn't allow us to come here last Sunday, but she always enjoyed her visits to here. So I know I missed the announcements and stuff, but she
well, your
sent her good
mom's,
vibes to everybody here.
your mom is Cheryl, right?
Yep.
And she's been here a few times. She is the neatest lady. I've never met Mike's dad, but his mom is just really, really a neat lady. So I'm glad they had a good vacation.
Yeah, thank you.
So, thanks. Anything else that I forget?
Yeah, Cheryl, my daughter Cheryl was here for a couple of days.
Yeah?
I thought she was going to be leaving today to go to Willits,
Oh,
but her son picked her up last night.
okay.
But she was going to come to church.
Okay, well, good.
Yeah.
Well, but she's having a trip, and that's cool too, so she's enjoying herself.
As long as she can do it.
So I'm glad she could see you, Bonnie, or you could see her, or whatever. How about, we all have stuff going on, let's just read the affirmation of abundance, shall we? To realize an abundant life, one must practice giving, receiving, and gratitude. May we ponder that wisdom, sir. Thank you, Michael. As we prepare ourselves for our meditation this morning, let's sing together Only Believe, number 152 in the wings.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Right. I'd like us to take several long, deep breaths.
all thoughts or worries float away as you breathe. Imagine you are standing on the edge of a field. You see a tree line where a forest begins. You notice a trail and walk on the path and enter into the woods. The light in the forest cascades down through the leaves in a soft spray of light. The undergrowth is soft and green. There are ferns, moss, and small plants reaching toward the light. The upper canopy of the trees covers you like a stained glass roof. The light green leaves against a light blue sky create a soft light that is gentle and soothing. This light is flowing within you. It reaches all the way to the soles of your feet. You are grounded and supported like a tree with roots of light. With every breath, this light grows stronger and brighter. With your next inhale, bring divine light in. and send this light out into the world. Namaste.
Chad, thank you very much. I have talked with a few people in this family over the last couple of weeks, and they're still kind of living in chaos from all the election stuff and all the media, and I want to kind of address that. I said earlier that we have the ability to drive our own bus, to lead our own lives, to choose how we think, to choose how we feel. And there's exceptions, you know, if somebody smashes into us or runs a shopping cart up our heels, we can't really control that. Well, we control how we react to it. I want to talk about a couple of tools today that we can use to help us get control of our bus again, to stop being swept up in anxiety and anger and fear and all the different things going around these days. And one of those is gratitude, and the other is serving. We'll talk about both of them back and forth intermingled. You'll know which is which, I'm sure. But a perfect example for me, and we all have these times of chaos and anxiety. Yesterday at our work day, I have severe COPD. You all know it. You watch me huff and puff all the time. And for years, I could do everything, weld and build and plumb and wire, and I can barely get dressed on my own now. And yesterday we had a work day. I could barely, well, I didn't unload my ladders. I loaded them at home, and I'll unload them at home. But I was so frustrated, I couldn't do anything. We had a young guy go up and clean the gutters out. I did that for decades. And I did the stuff, and I loved doing it. I got such joy from doing that. And yesterday, I had little bouts of anxiety, and I was so frustrated with myself. And I ran the little trimmer for a while, the little weed trimmer, the chipper, and had to stop doing that for a while. And I was sitting there with a cup of coffee. Well, you can be miserable the whole day if you want to, Patrick. It's your day. You can do it however you want. Or you can change that feeling of frustration and lack and irritation and think about, look around. Feel the gratitude of all the people that showed up and are doing the stuff. And I did. I just watched. We're cutting the limbs out of the tree out front, and I cut the one little tree that was in the dark and not growing down, and moving, raking up leaves in a pile and getting the gutters clean and cleaning the parking lot. And I didn't have to do anything except bring donuts and drink coffee. And I can do that very well. And it was such, my day changed from one of frustration and anxiety about the energy that I lacked. And it changed over to gratitude in all the energy we have and what we can do together and what was accomplished out of people serving this little community of ours. And it changed my whole day. And because when I got here, I wasn't looking forward to the day because I was just in angst with myself. And it turned out I had a whole morning full of joy. And we can, each of us, do that. We're all gonna be angry and fearful and upset from time to time. That's what life is. But we can choose to change the way we look at life. I've had a very interesting couple of weeks when it talks about being thankful and serving. I took our quarterly tithe to Redwood Gospel Mission down to my friend Jeff Gilman this week. And he was delighted to get it. And when I saw him, I've known Jeff for 20 years. He plays banjo and I play guitar, and we get together. And he is the CEO of Redwood Gospel Mission. And I walked into his office and said, "Hey Jeff, hey Pat, how are you?" And I said, "How are you doing, Jeff?" He said, "I am the most blessed human being." I said, No, I'm sorry. I am the most fortunate human being that has ever walked. And so we decided to have a debate about who was the most blessed. And we got to laughing at each other. But when you have that feeling about you are such a fortunate person, I don't care for the word lucky, fortunate. It just changes the way you interact with other people. And I said, "Well, what's new, Jeff?" Well, he told me a year ago, when last we had lunch together, that they had, in the process of acquiring the pet store over on Southwest Boulevard in that big shopping center, the old pet store on the far east end of it. Well, they got it. They're going to be opening soon. They bought $22,000. They bought all the gondolas and shelves from Big Lots, and they ordered $22,000 more to fill that place. Their new secondhand store is going to be there. And he said the 1st of December they close escrow. And now memory is failing. That nonprofit that had kids in it and went out of business because of the SAY. They bought, Redwood Gospel Mission bought that complex, that old hospital complex over there. And I'm so tickled that's where it went. They're going to expand their women's shelter and their what's the word? 12-step is what? Rehab center. And they're going to have a lot of children in there. And it's just, and this guy could not be the CEO of a nonprofit that was able to accomplish those things if that CEO did not have a consciousness of gratitude and serving. It would not be possible. And I'll tell you other things. I'm just going to share some things that are going on that make me the most fortunate man any of you have ever had the pleasure of meeting. Because I'm more fortunate than Jeff, I'm sure. This week, last week, a couple weeks ago, Wayne and I went down to COTS with a little check from the fundraiser we did for that little Reader's Theater. And they gave us a tour of their rehab center that they have, and they took a couple pictures of Wayne passing the check and shaking hands, and they put it in their online newsletter thing. So I get an email from a lady named Jules Pelican. She was like the number 2 person at COTS. I've known Jules for years. When we started talking to COTS 5 years ago now about the possibility of using our little house as housing for COTS people, or homeless people, I told Jules, I said, well, come by Church of the Oaks, I'll give you the 25-cent tour. She said, oh, I know all about Church of the Oaks. I've been coming there for years. And I'm thinking, well, I've been there for years, and I don't think I've ever seen you at a Sunday. And she said, you give us the room every Wednesday night for our Threshold Choir with Dr. Venus. And I've been coming for years to Church of the Oaks. And the Threshold Choir sings at passings and births. And they're amazing. And she was part of COTS for years. And now she is retired from COTS and is the director of the Providence Healthcare conglomerate, head of their hospice program. And we have been emailing back and forth about our experiences of years in what serving and gratitude, what difference it has made in our lives. And she's been one of my heroes forever in all the ways that she serves her fellow human beings, like Jeff Gilman. Most of you maybe don't know the guy, but have heard of a guy named Scott Gorey. He is the head of the Accordion Festival every year. And for the past the last 8 years, we have hosted the student stage. And Scott has been a flag carrier for that to happen since it started. And I take his trailer. The last couple of years they've used my stage down there. And one of the things that I do when I bring his trailer full of the dance floor and stuff with the 110, I bring it up and park it in our church lot. Because he said he was busy on Mondays, so he couldn't get it out Mondays. Come to find out, I get an email from him. Hey, I saw Church of the Oaks was supportive of the new rehabilitation wing at COTS. He said for over 20 years, every Monday, I spend my whole day going to grocery stores picking up food for COTS so they can have Mary's Table, where they feed whoever shows up twice a day, no questions asked, no money exchanged. And so part of what keeps the Accordion Festival going is that they give most of their profits to the schools. And the Scott guy, he works for COTS for free for 20 years every Monday. And the condition of his life, it's just different than a lot of people's, because he has gratitude and he shares and he serves. And this Thursday, you've heard me speak before, I'm having breakfast. It's my turn to buy with Jenny Medeiros and her husband, Juan Carlos. I've talked about Jenny before. I heard her speak at a 12-step meeting when Ron got his 50-year chip, and I was impressed by how she serves humanity. She's on the board of directors for Homes for the Homeless with a number 4 in it instead of FOR. Her husband, Juan Carlos, sets up and produces big fundraising events for nonprofits all over the United States. I met him the first time right after he finished this chef's cycle, and it's where all the chefs in the United States come to Santa Rosa and they stay out at the hotel, Flamingo Hotel, and they ride like 300 miles on their bicycles, like a walkathon for pledges. In 3 days, they made $800,000 to feed hungry kids. And that's what this couple does. They spend their life working for nonprofits that serve humanity. So my friends, if you're caught up in anger and anguish and fear and frustration, just call Patrick. I've got about 25 phone numbers I can give you and set you up with an appointment the next day, and it will be a life-altering event, I'm sure.
Something I wanted to talk about.
Redwood Gospel Mission, is that they do this great Thanksgiving feast. And so they need turkeys. And so it's a place to bring food, frozen turkeys, and they feed hundreds and hundreds of families. And you can volunteer there, although you have to kind of sign up online.
Yeah.
So if you're interested.
You can volunteer for that. If you want to take a turkey down, where Redwood Gospel Mission is on 6th and Wilson, right down by Railroad Square, that's where they're accepting the turkeys right now. Starting next Saturday, they're going to be accepting them out at the fairgrounds, but you kind of got to call and hook up and stuff, but you can take them to Redwood Gospel Mission, to their little center, their actual, what's that called? I don't know, the place at 6th and Wilson, and they will happily take that. And I asked Jeff how many, he said 1,280 families is what's on the list. He said just a little over 5,000 people they will be feeding at the fairgrounds. And in addition to that, he said we expect to be able to feed another 2,000 families, just put groceries in a sack and take it to their homes that week.
And clothing too.
And clothes and backpacks, and it's just, if you're feeling crummy, call me. I will turn you on to places that will be life-changing for you. But you have to make the decision to do it. You're in charge. Or you can feel crummy if you want to. That is your privilege. And I was talking with Sabrina earlier, we all know people who have insisted on being a victim their entire lives and never going to change. They don't want to drive their own bus. They want somebody else to drive them. That way they can always feel sorry for themselves and blame somebody else. What a crummy life that must be. And I went through periods of life where I was like that. I was sure I was a victim. I think we all have. But one day we woke up and found out we're only a victim because we want to be. Nobody's standing over us beating us with their fists. Very few people actually live through that. And there's places that'll help you get out of that kind of environment. But most of us kind of choose that. And then we choose one day to not be a victim any longer. We choose one day to think about the things that we are grateful for. I'm not talking about the toys and the pretty house and the kitchen curtains and no, what about the relationships that we've had in our lives? What about the experiences we've had? Some of the best rewards we've gotten in life, the most learning we've done, have been the experiences that hurt us the most, that were the most painful to live through. It just I was talking with Lillian Dixon at their maybe 50th or 60th wedding anniversary. We had a party here in the hall. And everybody was milling around, the family's huge, and I was in the corner with Lillian, and she had this very strange look in her eye. And I don't know why the words came out, but I said, Lillian, isn't it amazing that the experiences we have in our relationships, the ones that make them the strongest, are the ones that hurt us the most and we could never mention to anyone. And when we all go through that in relationships, and when we do, and when we get through it, and when we weather the storms, we become 7 foot tall and bulletproof. Those relationships become solid gold. Still work, still hurt feelings once in a while, but the relationships that we have in our lives, that's the gift of the life experience. It's not the toys and the fancy cars, and it's the interaction we have with other human beings. Those things that touch your heart. Those things that when you see someone get back from a day of working out at the fairgrounds on Thanksgiving, and Janet has done that. You can't mistake the look and the feel and the energy coming from that person. There's nothing like it. And all of us have our times of gloom and doom and frustration and anger and fear. Every one of us. But we don't have to stay there. We are in charge. And there are so many opportunities to get behind the wheel and drive down another street. Street that doesn't say gloom and doom. It says, oh my God, I never would have imagined that working, feeding homeless people could make me feel so good. I never would have imagined going down and helping cook at the shelter for women, the living room, helping cook a breakfast one Saturday morning for these young ladies that are down and out and have had horrible trauma in their life. Never could have imagined that being around people like that made me feel so good and so lucky, and that I value that experience. It's one of those special times. And if you think back in your life, there are experiences, some of them hurtful, but in the whole course of things, as you look through it, what value they have had in your life experience. I was talking to Sabrina earlier. I had the opportunity to deliver both of my daughters. I mean, I helped them. Mom did the share of the work, but I was the catcher. But that changed my life. It changed my relationship with my wife, with my daughters. And if we think about these little things that happen in our day-to-day and put those on our gratitude list, whenever we're feeling crummy, we just write down a list of stuff just in case you forget, and we do forget. We turn on the television and wow, we can get hot mad just like in 12 seconds. Well, when we go to the refrigerator to get a sandwich to help us leave the gloom and the doom, there's this list on the front of the refrigerator that says, aren't you happy that you have such a great relationship with your kids? Aren't you happy that you have such a family like Church of the Oaks you can come hang out with and you can call on each other for anything? Aren't you happy that you're part of a community that a few times a year we can get together and do amazing things? We can clean up this whole property in 3-4 hours. We can feed the whole town pancakes on a hot summer morning in July. And we could sit in this energy of acceptance and love every single Sunday morning and charge our batteries. And we don't have to sit here in gloom and doom. We can sit here and hug each other and smile and encourage each other. We all go through the health things and the death things and the mourning things and the grief things. But no, not another birthday. Oh my God. We can all go through that, but we can go through it holding hands together. That's why this place exists. We don't exist here to make money. We don't exist here to fix the wall. We exist here to create this living, breathing, feeling community. So if you remember nothing else that I said today, except starting the service with a bang, just remember you can drive your own bus. And if you don't like the trip, it's nobody's excuse. There's nobody to blame but you. Try a different street. Try a different route. And if you don't know which route to go, call me. I'll give you phone numbers of amazing routes It will make you feel so different than maybe anything you've ever felt before in your life. I wish all of you could feel as fortunate as I am, because it's truly amazing. So, and I'm not trying to show off, I'm just telling you, it's just how you think about your life, where you drive your bus, changes everything in your world. It does. I think God said all I need to say. If you haven't heard me now, you're not going to. It's coffee's on. Let's have some coffee. Let's sing together. Life is for living, and living with us, with each other. Number 195. Good to see you. Tell Buster I said hi.